Hey folks, this is Mickey G. Do you remember back in the day when you were young and you thought you had the answers for everything and how you could solve all the world's problems? And then as you got older, you realized just the opposite and really sort of grew to the point where you really didn't care. Well, Rodney and I are going to talk about that journey today and how we ruffled a few feathers along the way. We hope you enjoyed this edition of Old Fools Talking Old School. That's just sort of the society that we live in. That ain't much you can do about it. You can look back on and see the the issues and the discrimination and stuff of that nature, but really all you can do is try to do your little bit to hopefully make it better in the future. So
hmm
and I know that everybody sort of goes into things with their own agendas and things of that nature. Eh, That's just life. That's humans. So you just, like I said, you just try to keep. At least I do. I just try to look out for me and mine and move forward.
Yes, indeed, and that's what I've said all along. I don't know with that youth. You have some idea about you going. I mean, you're not uh, just sold to it, but you still have that optimistic view of changing the world, kind of in your thing. Once you get to a certain age, it's like hell, this shit ain't gonna change. Like, I'm just gonna take care of me and mine and move on from that because ain't nothing changing, and
No, no.
it's gonna be what it's gonna be. So you don't need to worrying and sweating over stuff that you ain't got no control over. I mean, I'm not saying hide your head in the sand and pretend ain't nothing out there, but I'll get behind the cause, but I ain't trying to do it all now, and I ain't that optimistic no more about it.
Yeah, I'm the
Get
same way. I'm the same
Mhm.
way, and you said exactly what I was thinking too. I don't think you can bury your head in the sand.
Right.
Or if you want to do that, don't complain when they walk over you while you got your head buried in the sand.
hmm
But I think you got to be aware of things. But I also, just like that old saying, choose your battles. I think you have to
Yeah.
choose your battles, which things that you feel sort of passionate about, and other things that you say, hey, I don't want to be knocking my head against the wall. I'll just leave that one alone. I'm gonna take on a challenge that
Mhm.
maybe I think I can have an impact on. And I think you got to do that. But you got to be aware of sort of what's going on to be able to make those kind of choices. You just can't jump on the flavor of the day. If not, you'll be chasing your tail forever.
Yes, sir. And another way of putting it is just, I mean, the older you get, the more you don't. When you're young, you think you gotta hit each one of them head on right then and there. Then you learn as you go along. Like you said, pick your battles.
Hmm.
It ain't worth going in and fight because you'll be fighting all day, every day. If you go in there and just react to all the stuff that's coming your way, because for people that don't who have been thrust into first class status in here, they don't take into account what they say and how they say it and who they say it to. So you could have something to say about everything.
Oh yeah.
Uh, so you just have to. And when you're young, you take all that shit head on. But you learn which ones are worth fighting. Which one means the most to you. So then they call it patience. Well, you pretty probably just burn out, hell, fighting everything. So you just pick and choose. Then you get, I guess, to the stage I'm at now where I'm like, the hell with it. You know, if something comes across my way, yeah, I'm gonna head on. But I ain't finna head the battle. These young folks got to get out there now because they got to go through this shit. I'm. As my boy told me yesterday, shit, I'm in my third quarter now. I'm trying to enjoy. I said, I said, I hear you. He said, I don't give a damn what nobody say. I was, yep, man, I've been that way a long time. He said, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. And I said, but because they're gonna talk whether you do or you don't.
Hmm.
So he said, man, I'm living my life because it was him and another partner of mine. He had just gotten divorced in last year, and he was just saying, man, I'm having the time of my life now, and I ain't doing nothing. He said, but I'm happy. And this whole night, and both of them said they had done it twice. I was like, yeah, well, he said, so no more. I said, I hear you, brother. So we were just talking about a whole frame of things, But no, man.
Yeah, but the thing that I'm finding, Rodney, working with the young folks back in my hometown, and I know that's not a representative sample of our nation in general, but it seems like they don't want to hear, well, back in the day we couldn't do this, and back in the day they did that to us, and that it just seemed like from talking to them, you should almost get that deer in the headlight blank stare look like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
so what's that got to do for me? Got to do with me, kind of thing. It's hard, especially at the younger sort of high school level and that kind of level. It's sort of hard to connect with those kids about, what we went through and the things that we've seen and observed and been part of, because they're like, it ain't got nothing to do with me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really hard to bring up that youth, and we're trying to do that in a couple of fronts, back home with the museum. Another thing of bringing the youth in and try to have them, be there to carry on that legacy after a while. And I was talking to some of the board members at the museum. I said, you know, I think we have an obligation almost to educate the young kids. But I said, I think if you asked me back when I was 16 or 17, I may give you that same blank stare kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I think we have an obligation to educate about the past and bring that knowledge in. But I think the folks that's going to really take up that battle and be there for us are not those 17 and 18-year-old, but probably maybe 35, 40-year-olds that we
Mm-hmm.
need to go after and say, hey,
Yeah,
you
because
got a little.
they damn sure don't know nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I said, because I just think we sort of run into that kind of situation when we're trying to get to those really young folks. And some of those that's got a little bit more going on. You can sort of tap into some of the history and things of that nature. They've been around for a little bit of that. But I tell you, it's hard. I mean, if you
Oh
don't
yeah.
have a genuine desire or passion to know your history and those kind of things,
Yeah.
it's a hard sell.
Oh yeah. It
It's a
definitely is
hard sell.
because you have nobody to reinforce it, and from my experience, but before I forget, because I will forget, uh, that is part and parcel the indoctrination that the majority community wanted to put on our kids. And like I said, I'll respect Martin Luther King forever for the things that he tried to do. But integration wasn't a good move. I know the thinking and the logic at the time was, getting the same education because all our taxpayer money is paying for books and they're going over to the white schools.
Right.
But we lost that integral part of togetherness and all of that when we went over there, when you got isolated and basically segregated in an integrated environment. And then the thing that they're talking about now about this critical race theory, that was their critical race theory because they started teaching things that were not true, history that was not true, indoctrinated our kids, and they're to the point where they hardly ever believe what any black person has got to say about how it really was because they've got that vanilla flavored history that the white schools have put in them. They're sitting up here now talking about because they want to tell the truth about history, talking about we're indoctrinating. You've been indoctrinating our kids all along,
Mm-hmm.
and adults. So you are knowledgeable about critical race theory because that's what your whole practice has been. You've whitewashed our whole history, and got it out there in Texas. They got them damn history books now talking about the slaves were happy. What kind of shit is that? That you had a link when we weren't integrated with them. We had a link to our past because we could see it. But gentrification, education, and just societal things, just this idiot tube right here that portrays things. I mean, just like kids don't even know what was the name? Bass Matson. That was a Long Ranger. But then again, these kids don't even know who a Long Ranger is, so
Hmm.
it don't really matter. But I know as a kid, hell, I thought the Buffalo Soldiers were white men. That's what you used to see on television until you grow up and you learn and get exposed to different things and learned out who the Buffalo Soldiers were.
Yeah, yeah.
And so they're they're whining about critical race theories because all of their lies is getting to be exposed to them half truths. They're like Kelly that was on Fox News, the woman. She gets on my dang nerve. I wish one of these sisters would put her up in the bathroom somewhere and beat her ass. She gonna sit up there and talk about no, Santa Claus is white. Santa Claus is a fictional character, fool.
You, you can make him. You can be any color you want him to be.
Wherever you want him to be. But I'm like, boy, this is ridiculous when you listen to these fools talk. You know, Santa Claus is white. And it's some other fictional character. They said, and he's white too. You know, I'm like, boy, this is. I had some dudes that I worked with when I was here after I retired. Yeah, no, we got to talking, and they was talking about, it was Christmas time. They got talking about Santa Claus, and they was like, Rodney, your kids believe in Santa Claus? I said, well, at this point, no, they don't. I said, but they figured it out. And they knew who Santa Claus, that was me. Ain't no little fat white man coming in here dropping shit off for them. And then I was like, in the representation, I got it from old money when they moved. You know, man, you want this Santa Claus? Yeah, I'll take it. I got a black Santa Claus in there.
Yeah, we do too.
Do you? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we got one too.
Got a black Santa Claus in there. He's like, man, you got a black Santa Claus? Yeah, I got a black Santa Claus. I took a picture. I'm like, see, here it is. Oh, they just thought that was funny. I was like, yeah. So that's reality. Santa Claus in my house is black. All the ornaments we got are black. I ain't got nothing against it. That's what y'all do. But I don't need no little white angels in my house. My angels are black. But
we got them too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So it's all about. You want to talk about critical race theory? That's what it is. You got these sisters that got women on TV looking at this is the epitome of beauty right here, and it don't look nothing like them. And I'm just like, man, that's why you got to have somebody that will tell them the truth. That's why kids don't believe. It reinforces it for them to think the way they do, and then it starts because they all started kindergarten together, going to school together. Because I know my kids, when I used to tell them about some of the things, me and Rosin would tell them, and then they had their little friends of another persuasion, and just basically told them, look, man, I said, I ain't saying don't be friends with them. I said, but you always want to watch yourself because they're your friend now. They won't get to know you, but by the time their mom and daddy get through with them, and that ain't all of them. I ain't trying to. But there's a vast majority of them. And sure enough, each one of them found out the stuff that I was telling. Because they used to sit up and think, well, mom and dad kind of on the racist side. Like, no, it's my job to prepare you to go out there for what you're getting ready to face.
Right.
Yeah. And so sure enough, they've come back since. Now that they're grown men, Dad, you were right. I was like, I know it. You find it out on the job. Yep, well, I can tell you. So there's been a couple of little incidents, well, more than a couple, but that they've made us aware of, of like, yeah. What was that old show we used to have on there? That ain't right. Like, yeah, it sure ain't.
Yeah. I was thinking when you was talking about the integration and thing, I don't know if you saw the any of the documentaries I did on the black high school back in McMinnville, but there was one that I did. There was a gentleman on there. He was actually in bed where he had his legs amputated. He went to Bernard and graduated from Bernard, was captain of the football team and everything. And when he talked about the school and going to the school, you could just see and hear the passion in his voice and how he was talking about it. It felt like it was just one big family, and you knew everybody, and you knew your teachers, and you knew if you got in trouble at school that your mom and dad was going to know, and the neighborhood was going to know, and everybody was going to know. And I mean, just I was a little reluctant to use the video because, like I said, he was in bed, when they took the video. And but his daughter said, no, that's how he wanted to take it, and he did it that way. He said, don't worry about it. But I mean, you could see that passion of going to that that black high school, and how he had memories of that and everything. And yeah, I think over time, we started to lose a lot of that. Now, of course, like you said, it wasn't the best scenario when you got the hand me down books and all that kind of stuff. But I think it gave you a more of a sense of pride in
Yeah.
your race and your people, and you had a lot more in common, and you could those kind of things back in the day. So yeah, I think that definitely made a difference as time has gone on, and it's I don't see it getting any better, because there's a attack on HBCUs now,
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
especially down in Florida and other places where people are saying why do we even need them, kind of thing.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's I
And
think just like
without talking about why we had to get them in the first place.
right,
You
right,
know.
right,
Hmm.
and I agree with you. I think Dr. King and the people during his time had the best intentions.
Hmm.
But if you look back through history, you might be able to say that, well, it almost was like, taking a pure, you know, black can of paint and whipping some white in there. It's not the same anymore.
Hmm.
You lose that true blackness and stuff. And I think that's some of the stuff that we're dealing with. And I was telling you about, trying to talk to the young kids and things, from the museum and stuff like that. And one of the guys said, well, I just don't know what it is. We just can't get these kids to come in and do nothing. And I said, well, you can't get their mom and daddy to come in and do nothing either. I said, what do you expect? I said, if mom and dad, and in some cases, grandma and granddad was showing up, doing stuff for us, and hey, we want to be part of this. We grew up here. We did our thing here. What can we do to help? I could say, yeah, we got all the moms and dads coming in. Kids, we just can't get to. I said, we can't get the moms and dads and grandma and grandpas to come in to help us. Why do
Right.
you think the kids, like you just mentioned, it's hard to set an example for somebody when you ain't even the person trying to set that example.
Hmm.
So I said, yeah, I said, we can't be totally mad at these young kids when we look at who should have been sort of fostering that, pride in their history and things of that nature, when they ain't doing it either. So he
Yep.
said, you can't be all mad at them.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And then the audacity. If someone is a little successful in their life, you want to put your parental responsibility on. Well, he not setting an example for the kids. Well, that's what you there for.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just really ticks me off. Or he don't give back. Well, hell, what did y'all give him? That really ex- just irks me when folks think you're obligated to give. Because I grew up on this street and I worked my ass off to become successful. If I do come back and give back, as they say, that's on my choice. I
That's
don't.
why you chose to do. Yeah.
Exactly. I ain't obligated to come back here. But man, he don't never come back here. This is where he grew up. I said, hell, that's probably why he wanted to get away. That's why he grew up. Like, I'm getting away from here. Nobody, but it's amazing how that has happened. Over time, it's just like, God forbid you go out and work your butt off and become successful, because then you got to pay back the whole damn town in their way of thinking. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Or on the other foot is you do go back and you try to give back and do things. It's like, oh, he was gone
oh
forever.
yeah,
Now he done come back here. He done made a little money. He's trying to come back here and do something. Where was he at all them other years? Well, he was out trying to make something of himself.
for sure.
And now that he has a time and the opportunity to come back and help, that's what he's trying to do. But you're gonna have those say the same thing. Oh
Hmm.
yeah, he went away and did this thing. Now he come back trying to say he don't know what's going on around here. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's almost like you get caught in that trap of you trying to go back and give back, and you're going to have some who are going to resent that,
Oh yeah.
because in a lot of cases they see where you, yes, moved away, you did okay, now you're trying to come back, and they feel like, well, he's better than we are. He don't know what we went through. As I tell people, you didn't have the same opportunities I had by no means, because I'm the only one that ever had the same opportunities I had, but
Hmm.
you had choices to make, You chose to go in a different direction. That ain't my fault.
Right. Or do nothing.
Or do nothing. So,
Mhm.
don't hate on me because I was able to make some decision that worked out for me later in life. You could have made those decisions too, but
Yeah.
it's it's just as I said before, life can be funny, and if you try to figure it out, you will drive yourself crazy.
Exactly. And that's why it's also necessary to get to that point where you just don't give a damn about what nobody says. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, yeah,
And feel good
and
about
feel
what
good
you've
about it.
decided to do.
That's
That's
right.
what you got to do, Rodney. That's
That's
what you,
right.
and I'm finding that out more and more all the time. Do what you feel like you should do. As they say, do the right thing.
Hmm.
Forget about what people are going to say because they're going to say no matter what.
Exactly.
Don't. And I've gotten to that same point too. And I guess it comes with a little bit of age and a little tad bit of wisdom. But that's how I am too. I'm
Hmm.
not I'm not trying to get everybody's approval and all that. I just do what I think is the right thing. You don't want to, go along or whatever, then that's fine. You
Yeah.
make your decision, but it ain't gonna stop me.
Exactly. Just sit back and be your apathetic self, like you've been being.
Right?
Don't start
Complain,
trying.
complain, complain.
Yeah.
Don't
Don't.
do nothing but complain, complain, complain.
Yes, sir. Don't try to Monday morning quarterback me.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just the way we live, man. The way our people are. But I think just my own personal opinion. I mean, everybody's got their own, but I just think when we black folks was on the same page and everybody had that move forward thing going on in the late 60s, early 70s, and then when the integration came, it just that blocked everything. And the will of the people became even more lax when they started. Well, let's get them out of there. We'll give them a Pell Grant so they can go to college, And then we thought we got to college and stuff, and then they gave about two or three of us a job in the office building. Now we got complacent. We done arrived,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. And
Yeah.
we got that permanent assistant title. It trips me out when I hear people. Well, I'm the blah blah blah. Blah. Oh, you're the assistant, right? So you ain't no decision maker, but you the blah 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 blah. It just freaks me out every time I hear that. Well, I was blah blah blah. Well, okay, assistant, and heads got big, got a little title, and that's what I was telling a few people out here, man, don't you want to be such and such? I said, man, I've had titles. I had plenty of titles in the military, and I don't need no title now. All I'm looking for is uh, when you gonna compensate me for what I'm doing. That's all.
Amazing how that happens,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
I'm telling you, man. That's what I'm talking about now. Keep your title. I got one. His name is called Rodney. So we get sidetracked on things, man.
Yeah, we can. Yeah,
Mhm.
we can. I see it a lot, but I just try to look forward and keep moving forward. Like I say, I just tell myself just do the right thing.
Mhm.
Regardless of what people say or what people don't do. There's people that they ain't gonna do nothing.
Yeah.
Don't get discouraged just because you think people should be stepping up, and you shouldn't even have to ask them.
Mhm.
Don't get discouraged. Just keep on moving forward, and things will be all right. At least as long as you can lay down at night and feel comfortable. I said that's all that matters. Because you're gonna run into those kind of obstacles, and I've seen that, and I just ignore it now. Like I say, I've gotten too old to have to go through all those kind of emotions and things. I know how people are, and I've
Mhm.
been able to experience that both in the military and outside the military. You ain't got to keep beating me across the head to get that over to me. I understand now.
Right.
Just keep moving. Just keep moving and doing what you think is the right thing.
And another thing, I mean, I just thought about this, when we were talking about the titles and all of that kind of stuff. Uh, Again, that's another one of them lessons that Uncle Sam taught because we have been in those positions to be the decision maker. That's not to say we don't have nobody to answer to,
Right.
but we have been in positions to be the decision maker and feel comfortable doing it. You think about that. There are a lot of folks out here that don't have that,
Mm-mm.
have never experienced that. And like I said, when they get in a position, you pretty much got your glass ceiling right there. Once you become, if you're a person of color and you get that assistant position, that's pretty much where you're gonna be, or brought down. But if you and I say that out here in the John Q public because that still can happen if you're working at a military installation. You can be thrust into a position to be a decision maker. But hell, even these, I laugh every time I see they have these CEOs on. They might show a couple of them of color because I think what Olive Garden had a brother that was a CEO at one point, but then they work for the board. I
Yeah.
mean, the board is the one that's calling the shots. So it's just the way it is, man. We they talking about women glass ceilings, but what about a black man? Even with the salaries. Oh, we need to give women equal pay. Men get this, white men get fat.
Yeah. Yeah.
There ain't just no general men, so people need to think about some things when they hear 'em.
Yeah. But when you don't have a whole lot to draw on, it's hard to do that once you get farther in life. I think that, just like you said, one of the things that I got out of the military. I mean, you can almost look back and draw on scenarios that you've gone through during that time to say, okay, this is how we need to approach this kind of thing. You can draw on that, but when you ain't never had that, it makes it hard.
It makes it hard.
Hard to do that.
And especially outside of the government out here working for firms and all that, it ain't meritorious there. It's like who you know. Damn it! Oh, that's such and such old boy. Yeah, give him a vice president. And then use the people that's got the experience and who should be in there to try and run something effectively. But hell, most of them are running at a deficit, and that's the reason why. Because the tokens that they've put up there that are not really qualified to do the job.
Yeah. And I think with me, I used to always think about, well, why do I got to do it all? Why do I got to do it all? And then I've gotten more into the mindset over the last few years of I'm going to do it because sorry to say this, but I think I'm about the only one who can do it right. Because I mean, it's good to spread the wealth, and I understand you can't do everything. I hardly understand that, but at some points, I think you just have to say, I'll take that on because I can get it done. I can get it done efficiently and get it done well. Especially if you look at the people that are around you and you say, if they take that on, I'm going to have to go behind them and do it right anyway. I'll take it on. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Kind of thing. I've seen myself sort of doing that more and more, and I always try to be conscious of, you are retired now. Don't overdo it.
Right.
This is the time of your life, but you're supposed to be enjoying life too. But I also see a situation where I'm just afraid if I don't jump in, it ain't gonna be done right, or it ain't gonna be done nowhere near on the time frame we need it done. So, but like you say, you learn that through life because of life experiences, and not everybody sort of has those type of life experiences. I'm just glad that I was able to go through some of those things, even though at that time I didn't appreciate it. But looking back, definitely appreciate it.
Well, definitely. I mean, even that whole experience though of being thrust into position to be effective. I mean, you draw on that, like you said. But man, I'm losing train of thought like a big dog. But but you got that to draw on, and it's almost like it gives you the confidence that you. I mean, I remember, when I first got out there, they're like, "Well, what about this? Do you think you?" Yeah, I can do that. It just gives you the confidence. Oh, shit, you can't put nothing in front of me that I can't figure out how to do it. If I don't know how to do it, I can figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just too much information out here not to. So that's what my little assistant that I had, she was thinking about getting her another job. So I got on the website with her and started looking at jobs. And I told her, I said, well take your job description and take a look at it and see what you're doing and what they're asking that they need. And I said, but you don't even have to do that. You know what you do. I said, they word them things so they want to eliminate half the people that can do it. So don't turn down no job. Apply for them all. I mean, well, you ain't no doctor and you ain't no lawyer. I ain't saying do that, but I mean, for all the jobs that they got out here, working in finance or working in HR and all that, I said, hell, whoever they bring in there, they're going to have to train anyway.
Yeah.
So don't limit yourself or deny yourself an opportunity because that job descriptions look because I've written job descriptions, and I've read ones that I've applied for. They got that crap so cryptic, and then once you get in the job, like this ain't half of what the crap that they had. So I'm like, don't let that fool you. I said, get in there and take it. I said, well, it ain't like they're gonna whoop you behind. If you can't do it, they'll either find you something else to do or you'll be gone.
Gone. Yeah.
Go find the
Yeah.
next one. You know. But yeah, I've seen a lot of people get intimidated by just the job description. Like, man, no.
Yeah, I always felt the same way too. Obviously, if one of the primary requirements is, like you say, they have a medical degree or a law degree or something of that nature. Now, don't waste your time. But when
Mm,
they come up with some of those general requirements, as far as doing, administrative kind of thing, leadership things,
hmm.
knowledge of the particular subject, and I always tell people too. I said, if the job description talks about needing to be able to flip a coin, make sure you say something in your skills about being able to flip a coin.
Yep.
Whether it was, well, when I was doing this, part of that job required me to flip a coin. Or, I mean, yeah, I know that's a little generic, but I said
Hmm.
you can't look at a job description and they say we want to find somebody that can flip a coin, and you go in and say I'm great at busting bricks.
Right.
That probably ain't gonna get you the job. I said, so be mindful of what they're looking for.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
might not be able to get it exactly to a T, but if you can say, look, I've done X, X, and Y, which is sort of, comparable to what you're looking for, and I've done that at a high level, that'll get you along the way. I said, but be mindful of that stuff. Don't stab yourself before you even get started.
Yeah.
Be mindful of that kind of stuff. But like you say, that's the kind of stuff that we learned, during our military career when we were, like you say, writing job descriptions and things of that nature. So that's just part of it. I thought about when you were saying last time we talked about, when those folks at your job got busted, and you were the only one there to run things. What are you gonna do?
Exactly.
You can't go out and say, okay, I'm gonna go down to Mickey's temp and hire some people for a few days. No, you got to run things.
That's it.
That's what you got to do, and we learn those kind of things.
Yes, sir.
When it comes down to it, things happen, and jobs still, as they say, the mission's got to be accomplished. You go do it. You
You,
don't sit back and say, well, they're not here now. We ain't got to do that. No, you still got to operate.
that's right. And then and that's the difference there and the mindset that's out here because oh, she's the only one that can do that job. No, she's not. Oh, well, I do this.
Yeah.
People infringe. They don't want you to infringe on their little. They ain't even concerned about the piece of the puzzle to make the machine run. They just worried about their little part. I got my part done. I ain't worried about the rest of y'all. Kind of thing. So they don't have big picture uh, 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 mission in mind, nor do they have the capability of don't let somebody retire. This friend of mine, her husband worked for the state. He had been working in IT for God knows how long. He put in his paperwork to retire. Now they want to give him like a $10,000 raise. She said he told, he said, that pisses me off. I've been here all this time, but now I put my paperwork now because they figure they're gonna have to do some damn work doing it all along. And now that he put that paperwork in to retire, it's like, oh, what we gonna do?
Yeah.
You know, oh, let's offer him some more money. I'm like, hell, he probably deserved more way before now. But now you think you can throw this out there at him, but you know what that's about. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I pissed off a lot of people during my career when I would go into clinics and they say, "Oh, Miss So and So is the only one that works with Doctor So and So," and I said, "That ain't gonna happen from now on."
I'm telling
I
you,
said, "What happens if Miss So and So dies today? Who's gonna go? Somebody else is going to have to go work with him."
yes, sir.
I mean, especially we had some civilian that worked in most of the clinics I was at. I said, "No, that ain't gonna happen." I said, "My main thing is cross training
Yes,
because I
indeed.
don't want nobody to come up to me and say, well, I'm the only one that can do that, so I'm gonna get my way." No,
Yeah,
that ain't how it works.
yes,
That
indeed.
ain't how it works. And I would go go in there and say, well, we're gonna get so and so to come back here and train with you and Dr. So and so. So in case you do happen to, I didn't say die. I just always say in case you hit the lottery tomorrow and don't show up for work,
Hmm.
they will know what's going on. But yeah, I've always been that way. I hated that situation of people saying, well, they're the only one who knows how to do that.
Yep.
It ain't not on my watch. We're
Exactly.
gonna have more than that person, and we'll even have a couple of people who gonna know how to do that. Because I know how people can take that and sort of blackmail you with, well, I'm the only one who know how to do that.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
you can't do this to me, you can't do that to me.
Mhm.
Nah, that wasn't the way it was. As I say, I pissed off a whole lot of folks doing that kind of stuff. I didn't care.
Hell
I
no.
mean,
Your interest
you
was
know,
making that mission.
make it. That's right,
Mhm.
because who knows what's going to happen,
That's
and
right.
that same thing happened just like with you when the war happened and they deployed folks. What are you
Yep.
going to do now?
Yep.
Well, the people that could only work with Doctor So and So is gone now.
Hmm.
So I said, nope, you got to be
Oh,
ready
oh,
for those contingencies.
there's your work stoppage, brother.
Right, right. That's true work stoppage. Yeah, you know. I said, you want to work by yourself? We ain't got nobody that can help you.
Yeah.
So no, man. We that was always one of my main thing. I didn't go for that kind of shit. I was like, no, we're gonna train somebody else that can work back there when that person's not available. And we rotated people through different jobs and stuff.
Yeah.
I said, no, I don't expect you to be a expert because you're only going to be working back there every now and then. But
Mhm.
I said, I expect you to be functional. So if you don't go back and work there for maybe a month or so, you can go back and be functional.
Right.
I
Right.
said, that's what I'm looking. I don't expect you to be as skilled as who's going to be working back there every day. But you're going to have to be functional. So if I need somebody, I mean, they take leave, they get sick,
Yeah.
bring you right on in, and yeah, take you a little time, maybe get up to speed, but you're gonna be able to do the job. So I was the same way too, and I was always that way too. I said I may not be the master of nothing, but I got a pretty good idea on a whole lot of stuff
Yes, sir.
that's going on. For one thing, if I got that little bit of knowledge, you ain't gonna bullshit me
That's
because
right.
I don't know what's going on.
You better know it.
You ain't gonna run them lines by me. Well, he don't know what's going on. I can tell him anything. No, no, I'm gonna know a little bit about just about everything around it.
Hmm. Yeah. Make it my
Yeah,
business too. I ain't been
yeah,
around this long. Just sitting with my head in the sand too.
yeah. That's the way I was too. I
Yeah,
was the
man.
same way.
Man.
Yeah,
Oh, well, that's such and such a job. I'm like, nah. But then we had where I was though, in logistics, we had a natural rotation. We did pretty much tried to do 6 months and then move people out, you
right, right.
know, and move other people in so that they could get their experience in there. Because we had so many testable areas
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you
yeah.
had to work in various departments just to get the knowledge of it.
Hmm.
And
Yeah. And if you didn't do that, you were only hurting yourself too.
exactly.
Because like you say, that stuff was going to be on the test.
Yep.
So yeah, yeah, we were the same way. We had different areas that people had to work in because depending on the specialties we had and things of that nature, and that's where I always ran into my biggest conflicts. But we have this doctor that only does oral surgery, or he only does prosthetics, and he has to have certain people. No, 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 no. We're gonna learn everybody to do that because they're all gonna have to be tested on that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Yes. So I definitely didn't mind ruffling the feathers,
Oh, I didn't either.
when it
Once I got to a point that I could ruffle, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
as a young airman, you wasn't
yeah.
ruffling much of
Oh, no.
much
No,
of nothing,
you were walking down the hallway cussing that
right? But after I got to the point to where I could ruffle a few feathers, yeah, I was doing that. Yeah, the Air Force taught me and Rodney a lot of valuable lessons. Most of all, it taught us not to compromise when you know you're doing the right thing, and that may not always sit well with some people. But in the end, when the stuff hits the fan, you know you did the right thing. Well, hope you enjoyed this edition of Old Fools Talking Old School. Please join us next time. Until then, peace.